Hey, dear ones, I have been thinking about this episode for some time because it just keeps coming up. This idea that I see from my clients and members of my community and from my own life that if we focus on a struggle and we really look that struggle or that worry or that fear straight in the eye, we are vibrating at that struggle frequency. We are focusing on that struggle frequency. And so, therefore, law of attraction kicks in, like attracts like, and we will therefore manifest it, manifest the struggle, the fear, the outcome we don't want. Therefore, the answer is to avoid placing our awareness on the things we don't want, right? Avoid the struggle. Don't look at it. Don't talk about it. Don't imagine it's even there. And unfortunately, that is a very disempowered way to approach conscious creation. In fact, if you do that too much, you will indeed be vibrating without even realizing it at the frequency of the thing you don't want. And then you will attract things into your circumstances that is an energetic match to that low vibe frequency. And that is what we're going to be exploring in today's super powerful episode of Soul Guide Radio. And oh, by the way, this is the first episode I will be releasing for the year in 2026. I am so excited for this year. I'm recording this at the end of 2025, and I feel like there's just so much excitement and elevation and creation that we have to look forward to. I believe, yes, there are going to be some challenges, that I'm sensing and channeling from source. But remember, we are going through a period of accelerated growth individually in our own lives, but also as a collective consciousness. And with elevated growth, there's always growing pains. And then there's also the miraculousness that's associated with reaching higher and higher levels of your potential. So I really feel like 2026 is going to be a year of elevated growth with both growing pains and the awe and wonder of accelerated growth. And so our invitation as light workers is to learn how to acknowledge immediately the growing pains and the struggles, heal what's ready to be healed, retrieve the lessons, return to our alignment. But because we just healed, it's going to be a higher alignment, and be led by the higher self to your next best heart-led step. But let's unpack this topic of avoiding focusing on what we don't want to manifest so that we don't manifest it, when that actually indeed puts us on a track of manifesting it. And as I said, I've had the idea of this episode for some time, but because I just kept hearing it on podcast episodes I listened to and in client sessions, and it just came up just a few days ago in a client session where a client of mine was telling me that her daughter is pregnant, and she and her husband spent a lot of time and effort trying to get pregnant because they had some fertility challenges. And then they finally did. And even though everything looks fine with regards to the pregnancy, there are a few things like, hey, let's watch these things because it could develop into something that you don't want, which is all within the normal pregnancy of what could happen. The health risks, every pregnant woman has a thing or two that they should be watching. Some of it's watching closely, and something, for some, it's just keeping a little eye on. So she's sort of in that range of healthy, everything looks great, but hey, you should be watching these indicators to make sure everything's rolling along healthfully. Well, my client has seen the struggle that her daughter has gone through to get pregnant. And she's so afraid that something could happen in the pregnancy that when she does visualizations, she's afraid to visualize herself as a grandmother and to visualize this baby in the world. And she's also, beyond that, she's afraid that if she's not in the right energy of alignment, that this baby is going to come into the world with ease and flow and health, that it'll be her fault because she has seen what a powerful manifester she is. And she knows how powerful she is at manifesting. So that she fears that if she doesn't hold the right resonance to manifest the right outcome for her daughter and her future grandchild, if something goes wrong, it will be her fault because she inadvertently, but still her fault, had manifested an outcome that was other than what she really wanted. So she is the one to blame for anything that would potentially go wrong. Now, you might be thinking, well, of course that's not the case. Of course it wouldn't be her fault. But you would be surprised how often I have encountered this in client sessions and even in my own life. Listen, I feel embarrassed admitting this, but it's such a good example. For years, I never did my monthly breast exam on my own body, my self-exam, because I was worried I would find a lump. Now, how silly is that? It's a variation of the story. Avoiding the painful thing because we don't want to manifest the pain, so we avoid it. I don't want to manifest finding a lump, so I avoid the healthy right thing, which is giving myself a monthly self-exam. To worst case scenario, I find something, but I find it early and it's treated and all the things. Then instead of waiting until the 11th hour where it could be developed into a situation that's much, much worse. It's this avoidance. Avoiding the struggle for fear of manifesting it. And here's what happens when we avoid the struggle. It's there. The fear is there. The subconscious limiting beliefs is there. The patterning is there. So that means we're vibrating at the frequency of fear. I'm vibrating without realizing it at the frequency that I could find a lump on my body. And so when I'm vibrating at that fear, I'm attracting things into my outer reality, into my manifest reality that are an energetic match to that fear. My client is avoiding thinking about or visualizing or honing in on her future grandchild, but she's vibrating at the fear of something could go wrong. And avoiding that something could go wrong is not preventing you from manifesting it, even though that's your intention. That's why you're avoiding it. What you want to do first is soul blueprint it. In Soul Blueprint, I teach you how to be aware of the fear, the struggle, the thing that you're trying to avoid. It's awareness. In my case, I had a fear of a lump. So aware. I have a fear of a health problem. I have a fear of an unhealthy body. Okay? That's the first thing. Because guess what? That's the truth. The truth isn't that I have a lump or that I'm going to manifest a lump. The truth is I have a fear of some health problems. In my client's example, nothing bad has happened. Everything is healthfully on track, but she has the fear that something could go wrong in the pregnancy. That's the truth. So we always want to acknowledge what's the truth. The worst case scenario, which hasn't manifested yet, is not the truth. What's the truth is how we feel and what we're vibrating at in this moment. And the thoughts that feel true, even part of the time, that are triggering fear. Because most of our painful thoughts don't feel true 100% of the time. When you have the thought, I'm not good enough, I know that there are moments in your life where you actually know that's not true and that you know that you're more than good enough. But when you get triggered, when you get in a fight with your spouse or you get business results that you didn't want and that wound gets triggered, then it's all of a sudden going to start to feel good. True. Well, I'm not good enough. Now it feels true. That's pretty much all of our painful thoughts go in and out of feeling very true to not very true. So if it even feels true 1% of the time, you have some blocked energy there. Because if you didn't have the blocked energy and you had the painful thought, it wouldn't be painful. It just wouldn't be painful. If you had no energy blocks around the thought, I'm not good enough, you can say it, you could think about that thought, but it wouldn't trigger any pain. It would be the same as saying the sky is blue. It would just be a thought. It would be a neutral thought. It probably wouldn't be a high vibrational thought like I am good enough triggers feelings of value and worthiness and connection and love. But when you don't have any energy blocks around I'm not good enough, it's likely to just trigger neutrality. Or even it could trigger worthiness when you're so clear it's not true that you almost go directly and automatically to the truth, which is I am good enough. So, getting back to our examples here in my life and with my client, I fear a health risk. We're both fearing health risks. And I'm sure you can find your own example in your own life of something you avoid because you worry about manifesting it. In your relationship, you avoid a painful conversation because you don't want the relationship to fail. Money, you avoid looking at the books because you worry there won't be enough to pay the bills. All the ways we avoid. And we need to stop avoiding and instead becoming aware. Aware of the worries, aware of the fears, and call up the blocked energy. Acknowledge the painful thoughts. Doing that is not putting you on track to manifesting them. Why? Because our energy of the moment, what we're vibrating at in this moment, our energetic resonance, is what's attracting our manifest reality, our physical reality of tomorrow. What we're experiencing in our physical reality today is a result of what we were vibrating at last week, last month, last year, last decade. So when you think about, okay, I don't want to place too much awareness on the things I don't want because if I do, I will manifest that. And that is true. However, when you have an energy block in your system, if you don't release that block, you are vibrating at that pain frequency, even if you don't realize it, even if you're doing your level best to avoid and distract and drink wine and busy yourself and scroll on social media. And I think AI is going to be like the next big number. We can get lost in AI. And listen, no matter how sophisticated AI gets, AI cannot do energy healing for you. AI can help you understand what's going wrong and you can talk things through, but at the end of the day, you gotta feel to heal, and AI can't do that for you. So I do believe AI is going to be yet another one of our big distractors. It's great. I love it. I'm using it on the daily now. It's making my life easier. I love to co-create with my AI bot that I have named Soul, S-O-L. But for some reason, I pronounce it Sol. So I love talking to Soul, and I love co-creating with Soul, with my higher self in the lead. However, I can see how quickly one could go down the rabbit hole of soul and just waste time and distract yourself from feeling things you don't want to be feeling. That is another version of avoidance. So, getting back to avoiding things that we don't want to manifest, getting back to my example, I'm in perfect health now for the most part, but I was avoiding doing self exams because I feared finding a lump, right? Why did I have that fear? I didn't just make it up in my head. I had that fear because it's attached to an energy block in my body. And when I release the block, I release the fear. And when I release the fear, I'm no longer vibrating at the frequency of fear, and I'm no longer susceptible to manifesting an outcome that's an energetic match to that fear. Also, we don't manifest according to how we feel for 45 minutes. If we did, oh my gosh, can you imagine any time you had like a thought of yourself jumping off a bridge? I mean, we've all had those like weird thoughts that come out of nowhere. Usually it's from like a past lifetime just coming into our conscious awareness and we don't realize it. I mean, if you've ever been like high up on a building, I mean, it's a natural, normal human response to think about jumping off. It's not that you're suicidal. It's just that sometimes our brain just kind of goes to those places, right? So you can imagine if we manifested our frequencies of, let's say, a 1 hour time span. So let's say over the next hour, whatever I'm vibrating at is going to manifest my day for tomorrow. Oh, well, then you better believe I would be on the hook to keep my energy as clear, clean, as high vibe as possible. We don't manifest like that. We manifest our frequency taken over time. So that means our outer world situation of today is a result of our energetic frequencies over years and decades, right? And the reason why we don't manifest quick like that is because our mind plays tricks and we don't want to place so much pressure on ourselves to be high vibe all the time. So it's a defense mechanism, if you will, so that we can always be on an easeful path towards manifestation and not on the hook to maintain a high vibrational frequency. The reason why that's relevant is because if you are avoiding a challenge or a fear because you don't want to place too much attention on it, because you don't want to manifest it, placing 3 to 5 minutes of attention on it so you can collect the energy block, feel the feels, breathe, release, is not putting your attention on it. It's actually confronting it, looking it square in the eye, and releasing it. And then all of a sudden, woo, your frequency is just raised several notches, and all of a sudden you're on a new higher frequency, attracting outer circumstances that are a match to that higher frequency. But when you avoid day in and day out, the fear is still inside of you. The fear that bad thing X, Y, or Z will happen is inside you. It's a blocked energy. It's vibrating and it is working to attract things in your outer reality that are an energetic match. It doesn't mean you're automatically going to attract that worst case scenario you might be fearing, but it may. And even if it doesn't attract that, it's going to attract other things that you don't want that are an energetic match. This is why, dear ones, there's a simple solution. If you're aware of pain, it's time to stop. The second you sense it, the second you sense something low vibe, either a painful emotion or a painful or limiting thought, or something heavy or constricting in the body, the second you sense it, I call it the aware in Soul Blueprint. Once you're aware, I feel fear. I have a limiting thought. I feel strict constriction in my solar plexus. Once you are aware of that, that's your invitation right then and there to not avoid. Don't grab your phone. Don't get lost in Chat GPT. Instead, if you're seated to your computer working, push your chair back, close your eyes, put your phone down, take 3 deep belly breaths, and just ask the question, what is really going on? Is there some blocked energy that's ready to be released? It is highly likely you're going to get a yes. Invite that blocked energy to the surface. Feel the feels fully and completely. Once the emotional wave starts to go down, return to your deep belly breaths. So in my case, I fear finding a lump. How does that feel? When that thought feels 100% true, it feels like fear. It feels like avoidance. I mean, it really feels like the emotion of avoidance. It feels like guilt for some reason. I guess maybe I'm guilty that I wasn't doing self-exams. I feel constriction. So I'm going to feel those feels, breathe, release, then sink back into the body. You'll feel your vibrations rising. Return to the heart space. Return to your higher self. And now you place your awareness on the outcomes you do want. Now you're not avoiding anymore because you've confronted the fear. Now you're stepping into the role of conscious creator because you've raised your frequency to higher than neutrality. If you can imagine, we vibrate on a scale of 0 to 1,000. 250 is neutrality. Once we get up over 300, that's when we really step into the role of conscious creator of our experience. And the high vibrations start pulling things into our experience that are an energetic match of higher and higher vibrations, of reason, love, peace, joy, enlightenment. So I want to visualize myself in thriving, vibrant health, of taking care of my body month in and month out without fear of worst case scenarios, just caring for my body, taking the right vitamins, eating the right food, doing the right exams, both at home and at the doctor's office. What is higher self calling me towards? What message does my higher self have for me about my health? This is how we shift out of avoidance and into conscious creation. My invitation for you this week is to identify one thing in your life that you have been avoiding. You've just been avoiding the conversation, the deeper look at the fear, the action you know you need to take, and stop avoiding. Look it square in the eye. Doing that will not mean you're going to manifest it. Doing that is going to set you free. Find the thought that feels painful. Feel the feels that are triggered when the thought feels true. Breathe and release. Go back to the heart space. Ask your higher self for your next best heart-led step. That's a wrap for this week. If you've received something from this episode, head on over to wherever it is you listen and let me know specifically, what did you receive? What questions do you have? Do you have any requests for future podcast episodes? And whatever feedback you offer, I will read your words on the air with love and gratitude. And as always, until next time, may your soul guide the way.